Hey guys, this is CallanLoF, and to celebrate 20,000 subscribers that this little guy helped me get, I'm going to be reviewing every single Tahu today that LEGO has produced, as well as a few other little Tahus that I've made along the way, because I'm that big of a fan. So I hope you enjoy this. Let's start with Tahu Mata. As one of the first 6 Toa sets, there's not a lot to say about Tahu that hasn't already been said. He's an iconic looking figure. The masks of all 6 of the Toa are amazing, and his original How is no exception. He's got a cool function with his swinging sword arm that I love, and he's got a cool hand as well, which people used to think were guns for some reason. I love this figure, and what he does not have in posability, he definitely makes up for in iconography, and I think that being good shelfware, something that looks good on your shelf, is just as important as having a decent level of posability, and he has enough to be a fun little figure, despite not being the super posable kind of action figure that Bionicle would end up becoming. But he is still great, and I love him. He might be my favorite. It is a tough call between him and this next one. Tahu Nuva was my first Bionicle set ever, so he was a great figure that got me inspired to buy a lot of the rest of the characters and get into Masquelite the movie and all that great stuff. He is a really good figure. He is a clone figure, kind of. He uses a lot of the same pieces as Tahu Mata with some new armor. This is one of the best ways they did it with these new armor pieces and the swords. I love the magma swords, and I always thought that the Nuva masks were pretty good overall. Tahu's was one of the better ones, but yeah, they did not compare as well to the very iconic Mata masks. I really enjoyed the new additions, but yes, this guy was one of the last waves before Bionicle started moving to more posable figures and away from gear functions, and his gear function is good, but same kind of thing. So let's see what they did when they moved on a few years back to revisit the character for 2008 with posability. This was not what we wanted. Tahu Mistika is a decent figure as far as just action figures in general, but as Bionicle is concerned, he's one of the worst Toa they ever produced. His color scheme's cool. His body is a very lazy reuse of the Baraka torso. The addition of the wing fin things is okay, but this is not Tahu. The spinny weapon thing is not Tahu. The gun is not Tahu. Obviously, I don't mind the guns. I don't mind these weapons at all, and you could have given Tahu the gun. I don't really care about that. The problem is just that this is not a Tahu figure. They did not design this correctly as far as having the iconography of Tahu being a sword, as which he's had in every other version of the set, and a proper mask with his mouthpiece. Like this thing is wrong. This is not Tahu. I do like this figure, okay, but he is one of the worst Tahus, and I would tie him with another Tahu I will be discussing shortly. Tahu Stars is a bit of a slap job. The best compliment I can give him compared to his Mata counterpart is he's got neck posability, but it's a very ugly green head. The 2008 Matoran design was always a little flawed. I didn't mind the structure of it. The pre-bent limbs were never the best designed in my opinion, at least compared to a lot of the older year pre-bent limbs. And yeah, his sword is cool. He has a really nice sword, fire sword, a reskin of Akar's weapon from 2009. The silver hilt is random. He's an okay figure, but of course he's got the 2009 joints that break, so this guy just, there's not a lot of great things to say about him. He was a slap job for the end of Bionicle, and his How is worse. If they made it just a little bigger, it would have been a great modern version of the How, but it's not amazing. And yeah, he's not the worst figure ever, but he's not that great. And here he is with the gold armor. The gold armor gimmick was okay, but yeah, it was a messy ending for Bionicle, but we love him anyway, I guess. I'd still technically put him over Mistika. Let's go on to G2. Tahu Master of Fire is okay. I like him-ish, but here's the thing. I'm not the biggest fan of CCBS. I've talked about this guy a lot before, And as a $20 figure, you compare him to certain titans like Brutaka of G1, this guy looks pretty bad in comparison. He's got a lot of good stuff. He has a good mask. His swords are very, very cool. But as far as the creativity behind the figure and using him in conjunction with CCBS, not a ton. He does fare better as far as the bones, color distribution of the gray and the black. It's kind of nice, and the silver being distributed to just his hands and feet. One of the better combinations of silver and gold, but these G2 guys suffered from overuse of certain colored pieces, translucent pieces, gold pieces, silver pieces, in not very clever ways, and it kind of hurt the other ones a little bit more. Some of the other ones a bit more than him. He looks overall is a pretty pleasing figure as far as looks, but you really start looking in the details and you see the ball joint thing sticking out, or then you look at how flat his shins are. I do not heavily dislike this figure. In fact, I put him over the Mistika for sure, but he has his problems, and that is partial my anti-G2 bias. But you know what? I'm still glad to have him. Let's talk about the one I'm not as glad to have. I almost feel bad saying I think this guy is just as bad as Mistika Tahu, but there's just a few factors, because he's got the iconic how shape bottom of the mask, which is good. He's got the swords, which are fine, even though the black is a little much. And actually the whole upper torso from here actually looks pretty good. So what's the problem? It is this torso design. It's just a little long. Bionicle G1 always had short torsos with longer arms, which were not anatomically correct, but they looked a little nicer than having more anatomically correct proportions with a really long torso that just looked... it just did not look right. The gear function was a neat idea, but in execution, it was not exceptional, and it definitely did not justify this really ugly waist. I have no idea why they went for so much gray on the legs when there's no gray anywhere else on the figure. It's a little nitpicky color distribution kind of stuff, but on a figure like this, it really stood out a lot more than it did on some other ones. I'd say it's a little worse than just blue pins showing up, which are there for people who don't like that either. And yeah, there's only 3 red pieces on the figure. That's also kind of heretical for a Tahu figure. And the third piece isn't even fully red. It's a partial blend mix. I really didn't like the silver edition here. I thought it was much worsely done than the 2004 Matoran blending of the silver. This figure is just really bad. I had to rebuild him to make this review because as soon as I bought him, I did my own custom adjustments, which had their own problems for sure, but I really did not like how this one came out, especially with just how little red was on Tahu. So I would say Mistika actually looks like a better figure overall in terms of some of the design parts, but this one is a much better Tahu as far as looking like Tahu. I will give him that. But yeah, I put him and Mistika kind of on the same boat. I don't think I can even rank this guy because he's not really a Bionicle, but he is a meme. I gave him a spinny neck. He's built wrong. We'll figure out how his mouth is actually added when the set comes out. Some people have made their guesses, but I gave him a spinny head for fun. He has no posability. He is the worst Bionicle figure and the worst Tahu, but he's the best in our hearts because he provided memes to the community. He gave people something to be annoyed about if they're really sensitive, and he gave people who are not as sensitive something to laugh about, because Bionicle had its time, and LEGO giving it any kind of acknowledgement is nice. I actually am glad that they did it in something silly like the Creators Classics style, where they're working with really simple pieces, and it looks cute. I'm happy with it. I will be happy to buy the set as well to clarify exactly how he's built. But I have other Tahus to discuss, starting with my own little Tahu, which I showed earlier. This was my attempt at just making a Tahu built around this pin set how with bricks. And while he uses some kind of illegal things like cutting tubes to 1 stick length, I'm pretty happy with how this little guy came out, and I think that on this scale, he's a bit better of a representation of Tahu. You guys give me your opinions. But now I'm going to jump to some other Tahus I have. So in addition to the 7 official Tahus that have been released, I have 9 figures that I have around my room that are all custom models or adjustments. Technically this is not, but I will get into them briefly here. I've mentioned the little Tahu in detail. This is a little Tahu that is just like IDS's build. He's sort of like a Slizer's Tahu that IDS 5621 used in one of his iconic videos, Fire and Ice. So I just have him on standby for fun. This is my Tahu Mata mock Tahu, who has been in many videos. All the old build from 2012, but I'm still pretty happy with it. Recent edition orange ball joints that are official, as opposed to these cut ones from years ago. And yeah, that's kind of happy. He has all orange arms. I'm happy about that. So that's sweet. This is my little Tahu Nuva mock, to look more like Mask of Light with dark red arms. Got a little heart light, no gears in the back, bendy neck, all the good stuff, and of course CCBS hands to reflect the fingers and all that. So I like having him too. This is my also Mata Tahu Nuva post-apocalyptic future Tahu concept that I did as a bit of a goof and gaff in Dermis Turtle 3. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this figure. I really liked the idea of taking Tahu's Tahu's red and orange, and making it the dark brown and dark red, and playing with that kind of color scheme. So I'm pretty happy with this kind of figure too, as far as what he was supposed to accomplish anyway. Then I have my 2015 revamp. He's mostly the same with a few small adjustments, but I still have him built and I'm happy with him. I did have to take apart my 2016 revamp because he was kind of falling apart anyway. But yeah, I still have this guy on standby. There's my original 2014 version of the 2015 revamp that I've made some adjustments on. This is my version of Tahu in anticipation of G2 coming. He originally had the How. I've since given him the 2015 mask and added a few G2 pieces like this one on the back, and also adjusted his chest so he has this kind of suit-like kind of look that really takes advantage of the parts of this kind of paw chest piece thing. So I think that's kind of cool, and I'm happy with this figure. Now, this is just kind of a goof. I have a bunch of trans neon orange pieces, including the trans neon orange Hows. Let's make an all fiery Tahu. I will probably keep working on this one to try and make him actually look cool, but he has no black pieces on him at all, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, obviously there's no trans neon orange feet, so I had to kind of work around that. He's not a great figure, but he's a fun gimmick. And then of course I have Tahu in his Exo Toa suit. This is just a standard Tahu with 2 mirrored finger hands and his gold mask from 2002. So, stretching the limit of my space, I have 17 Tahus, and that's not even including any of the duplicates that I'm trying to sell that I keep in my room. And I'm very happy with, well, not every single one of them, but I am happy that they all exist, and I'm happy that Bionicle has had such a lasting legacy in this community with all these people, and with me specifically, that it's made me make all these different versions of the character, as far as the custom mocks, and purchase all the ones that LEGO created that I've really enjoyed over all these years. And I'm very grateful for the 20,000 subscribers that this little guy helped me get. So thank you very much to all you people out there. I hope you enjoyed this kind of weird little video. Not little. I hope that I can continue to make entertaining content for you in the future, and stick around. I got good stuff coming. Lots of funny things. Thanks for watching. You guys take care.